Forget platinum records. Eric Clapton's real treasures are parked behind garage doors. We're talking about rare million-dollar Ferraris and vintage cars so exclusive, even collectors whisper about them. But this is more than just a display of wealth. It's a reflection of his passion. Every curve, every engine note, every handcrafted detail speaks to Clapton's obsession with perfection. Buckle up, because in today's video, we're about to take a ride through one of the most elite and ultimate classic Ferrari collections on the planet. Number 1. Ferrari SP12 EC. If the name sounds like a secret prototype, that's because it kinda is. This car was designed from the ground up by Ferrari's elite one-off program and the legendary design house Pininfarina, built exclusively for Slowhand himself. Now, if you're wondering where the inspiration came from, it's a heartfelt nod to Clapton's all-time favorite Ferrari, the 512 Berlinetta Boxer. He owned not one, not two, but 3 of them over the years. That's how deep his connection runs. So when it came time for something special, something that screamed Eric Clapton, the 512BB was the obvious blueprint. The base of the car is the 458 Italia, which ain't exactly a slouch. Under the hood sits a 4.5-liter V8 that cranks out 570 horsepower with redlines at a staggering 9,000 RPM. This engine has won over 30 international awards, and once you hear it sing, you'll know why. It's paired with a lightning-fast 7-speed F1-style dual-clutch transmission and an E differential that grips like a rock concert crowd surging toward the stage. Initially, Clapton actually pushed for a V12, true to the 512BB spirit, but Ferrari's team advised against it. Swapping engines would have complicated the build and jacked up the price even more. So he stuck with the V8. The V8 not only delivers better balance and weight distribution, but it also keeps the whole setup more agile. Practical, sure, but still powerful enough to melt tires and turn heads. Now, visually, this car is something else. If you know the 512BB, you'll spot the throwback details right away. It's got a subtle two-tone paint job that echoes the classic red and black BB that he loved. The BB-style air intakes and door handles are pure nostalgia, and rumor has it the headlights were inspired by the Enzo. The body? Sleek and aerodynamic, but with compact lines that scream vintage performance. It blends retro Ferrari styling with modern aggression, a feat only the Italians can achieve. Everything about the SP12EC oozes class and exclusivity. From its proportions to the handcrafted details, it's a moving sculpture. It's also proof of just how deep Ferrari will go to satisfy their top-tier clients. Clapton didn't just get a car, he got an experience. He followed the build from sketch to final delivery, saying the whole process was one of the most satisfying things he's ever done. That's high praise from a guy who's played every legendary venue on Earth. That's just the first gem in Clapton's garage. Believe it or not, the lineup only gets more exclusive from here. If you're as hooked as we are, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel. There's plenty more video like this. Now let's see what other legends Eric's been hiding. Number 2. Ferrari 250 GT Luso. Made between 1963 and 1964, the Luso might just be the most beautiful Ferrari ever made, and Clapton would probably agree. He's owned more than one, and when he talks about it, the admiration is crystal clear. The Luso, short for luxury, was designed by Pininfarina and built by Skaggali. From the outside, it's got that classic Italian sports car silhouette. A long, low hood, fast back rear, and proportions so clean they look like they were poured, not sculpted. The front end carries the DNA of the earlier 250 GT Berlinetta SWB, while the back end features a tidy calm tail that adds just the right touch of edge. Thin pillars and a wraparound glass cabin give it a light, airy vibe, rare for its era. But it's when you slide inside that this car starts whispering sweet nothings. Deep brown leather seats that cradle you like a fine cigar chair. A wooden steering wheel that feels like a handcrafted instrument. The dashboard is pure analog elegance, simple dials, metal toggle switches, and a vintage radio that makes you want to turn on some vinyl. There's even AC, and while it's not climate control by today's standards, it sure made highway cruising back then feel like a first-class flight. Under the hood is Ferrari's legendary 3.0-liter Colombo V12. With triple Weber carbs feeding it air and fuel, it pumped out 240 horsepower at a howling 7,500 RPM. That gave the Luso a top speed of 150 miles per hour and a 0 to 100 miles per hour sprint time of just under 20 seconds. Not lightning fast by today's standards, but in the early 60s, that was race car territory. What made the Luso so remarkable wasn't just its looks or speed, but how it blended both with everyday comfort. Ferrari had just moved away from building one-size-fits-all race cars like the SWB. The Luso marked a shift, a purpose-built Grand Tourer that didn't require a racetrack to shine. It rode smoother, felt quieter, and had softer suspension, but could still tear up a mountain pass if you felt like channeling your inner Fangio. Number 3. Ferrari 612 Skaggali. Eric's 2004 Ferrari 612 Skaggali was ordered through Ferrari's ultra-exclusive one-to-one personalization program. Finished in blue Mirabeau, a rich, elegant shade of deep blue that exudes understated calm. The exterior was accentuated by a unique two-tone paint job and 19-inch forged alloy wheels. He went full custom inside too, with beige tan leather, diamond-stitched seats, and enough high-end touches to make a Bentley blush. We're talking heated, electrically adjustable front seats, dual-zone climate control, and even a leather headliner. All wrapped up with a silver dashboard plaque showing off that this was built specifically for the guitar god himself. The 612 isn't some featherweight corner carver. It's a proper Grand Tourer. Designed by Frank Stevenson under the guidance of Pininfarina's Ken Okuyama, the car drew inspiration from the classic 1954 375 mm, made famous by Ingrid Bergman. This is Ferrari flexing its design heritage muscle, blending old-school charm with early 2000s aggression. That signature scalloped side panel and swept-back headlamps? Total art on wheels. Now, under that long aluminum hood sits a front, mid-mounted 5.7-liter V12, kicking out 533 horsepower. It's paired with a 6-speed F1A paddle shift transmission, which at the time was a refined version of the one Ferrari used in its Formula One cars. This beast can rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.2 seconds and tops out at over 200 miles per hour. The 612 was Ferrari's second all-aluminum vehicle after the 360 Modena. Built on a space frame developed with Alcoa, it was light for its size and sturdy like a tank. The body was built at Carrozzeria Skaggali and shipped to Marinelo for finishing. Total production? Just 3,025 units between 2004 and 2011. Of those, only 199 came with a manual gearbox. Clapton's own went with the F1A semi-auto. Number 4, Ferrari 575 Marinelo. Now let's rewind a little to 2003. Before the Skaggali came into play, Clapton was already living the V12 dream in another iconic GT, the Ferrari 575 Marinelo. He ordered his 575 Marinelo brand new in Giallo Fly, a bright, stinging yellow that pops like a spotlight on stage, matched with a black Nero Daytona leather interior. But it didn't stop at looks. Clapton loaded it up with all the right factory options. The rare Fiorano handling pack, satellite navigation, a full interior carbon fiber pack, yellow brake calipers, and even a Tubi exhaust for that extra bark when the V12 hits its crescendo. Under the hood sat a 5.75-liter V12, making 515 horsepower. Unlike its predecessor, the 550, this thing had a touch more power, a slightly faster top speed, 203 miles per hour to be exact, and a refined Magneti Marelli F1 transmission that made paddle shifting feel like second nature. The 575M was an evolution of the 550 Marinelo, keeping the front-engine rear-wheel drive layout that made the 550 such a purist's favorite. But Ferrari didn't just tweak the motor, they revamped the suspension, gave it better aerodynamics, sharper weight distribution, and some serious interior upgrades. It was a muscle-bound gentleman's cruiser that could eat up the miles or the track, depending on your mood. After Clapton, the car ended up with Chris Evans, TV host, radio personality, and fellow car nut. Evans kept it until 2010, during which time he made Clapton autograph the service book. By 2011, the car was put up for auction. Number 5. Ferrari 365 GTC. You can't talk about Eric Clapton's garage without hitting a real high note. The Ferrari 365 GTC. The 365 GTC is often called the best all-round Ferrari, and for good reason. Designed for serious touring with a low-key, refined vibe, it was perfect for someone like Clapton, a man who appreciates style, speed, and soul in equal parts. It was built for fast European highways, but not in a shouty, brash way. With a 4.4-liter V12 under the hood pushing out 320 horsepower, this car could haul. What made it even more addictive was the extra torque, around 10% more than the previous 330 GTC. That meant better mid-range punch, so you didn't need to scream the engine to get that sweet Ferrari surge. It's got a 0 to 60 time of 6.3 seconds and a quarter mile in 14.5 seconds at 90 miles per hour. For something built in the 60s, that's rock and roll speed. Clapton's own 365 GTC Chassis 12359 came with a pretty amazing story. It lived a full life before Eric got his hands on it. Originally delivered in Italy in 1969, painted in a deep grigio ortello gray with beige leather. Aristocrats, American officers, and Ferrari collectors all had their turn behind the wheel before it made its way to Clapton. When he bought it in the 2000s, the car was still running smoothly. But being Clapton, a man who knows the value of a fine guitar or a vintage car, he had it professionally restored. Everything from the carburetors to the carpets was gone through. The paint was stripped using a water method to protect the metal. New radiator, clutch, suspension, brakes, chrome, you name it. Number 6. Ferrari 512BB. The Ferrari 512BB is Clapton's favorite. So much so, he had Ferrari build him a custom one-off, the SP12EC, based on this exact model. Clapton owned 3 of them. The story goes that it all started when George Harrison pulled into Clapton's driveway in a 365 GTC. Clapton took one look and said it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen. Fast forward a few years, and the 512BB became his weapon of choice. Released in 1976, the 512BB Berlinetta Boxer was Ferrari's first proper mid-engine V12 road car. It had a flat 12 engine sitting behind your head, 4.9 liters of snarling, carbureted power, and 360 horsepower on tap. Top speed? A shade under 190 miles per hour. Performance wasn't just impressive, it was jaw-dropping. It could hit 60 miles per hour in 5.4 seconds, torque peaked at 331 pound-feet, and the sound. That flat 12 howl through 4 triple Weber carbs made it one of the best-sounding Ferraris ever made. It was raw, responsive, and absolutely unforgiving if you didn't show it respect. It wasn't designed to pamper you. No power steering, no driver aids, just pure mechanical connection. It handled like a mid-engine should, poised, tight, and capable of biting back if you got sloppy. It was the kind of car where lifting off mid-corner might send you spinning. Drive it like an old 911, balanced throttle, smooth input, and it's magic. Clapton knew that. He understood this wasn't just a car, it was an instrument. He respected it like he did a Fender Strat. He even crashed one and owned up to it being his fault, but still went back for more. That says everything. The 512BB came with some much-needed upgrades over its predecessor, the 365 GT4BB. Better suspension, wider rear tires, improved aerodynamics. It even had air conditioning and more civilized road manners, if you can call a 360 horsepower, mid-engine V12 civilized. Only 929 were ever built between 76 and 81, making it the last of the carbureted Berlinettas. Ferrari switched to fuel injection after that, so if you want the rawest, loudest, most analog experience, this is the one to have. Number 7. Ferrari Enzo. Everyone talks about rare Ferraris like they're unicorns, but Eric Clapton? He just might have owned the holy grail of them all, the Ferrari Enzo. Under the hood sits a 6.0-liter naturally aspirated V12 that cranks out 660 horsepower. It's paired to a 6-speed manual gearbox that delivers those ponies with brutal precision. This thing rockets from 0 to 60 in just about 3.3 seconds and can tear down the road at a top speed of over 218 miles per hour. That's pure, unfiltered adrenaline. No turbo, no hybrid nonsense. Just old-school muscle and finesse. The design is pure sculpture. Every inch of the Enzo is shaped for aerodynamics, built with carbon fiber to keep things light, and inspired by Formula One technology. Even Ferrari said it's the closest thing to an F1 car you could legally drive on the road. Ceramic brakes developed by Brembo brought it to a stop, and the whole chassis was designed to transfer as much race car DNA as possible into a street-legal masterpiece. Inside, forget the creature's comfort. You won't find plush seating or luxury stitching. This car is about function over frills. It's stripped down with carbon fiber seats, a race-inspired dash, and minimal electronics. Even the air conditioning and power windows were sacrificed for weight savings. That kind of minimalism was for speed. Now imagine Eric Clapton, one of the most legendary guitarists in history, ripping through the Alps in that car. It's not just about owning a Ferrari, it's about living that Ferrari lifestyle. Number 8. Ferrari 550 Marinelo. One of the highlights of Eric's Ferrari obsession is the 1997 Ferrari 550 Marinelo, one of the most significant modern GTs Ferrari ever built. Back in the mid-90s, Ferrari was finding its soul again. After years of mid-engine madness, they wanted to bring back that front-engine magic, the spirit of the Daytona. Then came the 550 Marinelo. It was a proper grand tourer with a 5.5-liter naturally aspirated V12 pushing out 485 horsepower, all going to the rear wheels, all controlled by a 6-speed gated manual transmission. This machine was made for the open road. 0 to 60, just 4.4 seconds. Top speed, 199 miles per hour. All of it with no traction control, no launch assist, just raw driving pleasure. That gated shifter alone is enough to make any car guy's knees weak. The design, courtesy of Pininfarina, took a little time to be appreciated. At first, it was considered a bit understated, but fast forward to now and it's one of the most elegant silhouettes Ferraris ever put on the road. Long hood, short tail. Number 9. Porsche 911 Turbo. Clapton was known to cruise around in several 911s during the 80s, but the 1975 Porsche 930 Turbo was a car that defined a whole new level of danger and excitement. This was Porsche's first production car with a turbocharger, a true game-changer. It packed a 3.0-liter air-cooled flat-6 engine boosted by a KKK turbocharger, kicking out 260 horsepower and 253 pound-feet of torque. That might not sound wild by today's standards, but back in the 70s, that was absolutely bonkers. Especially considering this thing had a short wheelbase, rear engine layout, and just 4 gears to play with. It was fast, unpredictable, and not for the faint of heart. That's why they called it the Widowmaker. Clapton owned one of only 36 right-hand drive plexiglass models imported to the UK, making his even rarer. Porsche didn't build these for comfort. They built them to dominate. Wider fenders, a T-tray rear spoiler, and brakes pulled straight from Porsche's racing division meant this car was all business. While it could hit 60 miles per hour in 6 seconds and max out at 155 miles per hour, it wasn't just about speed. It was about the way it delivered that speed. Quiet, controlled chaos, kind of like Clapton's guitar solos. You could daily drive it if you were brave, and many did. The interior was surprisingly well appointed for a 70s sports car. Leather seats, air conditioning, and power windows gave it a touch of class. But the real thrill came when you buried the throttle, waited for the turbo lag to kick in, and then got slammed back in your seat as the boost hit like a freight train. But Clapton's Porsche story doesn't end in the 70s. Fast forward to the early 2000s, and he was still pushing the limits. He was caught bombing down a French highway in a newer 911 Turbo at 134 miles per hour, 53 miles per hour over the limit. The French authorities weren't amused. They slapped him with a €750 fine, took his British license, and banned him from driving in France. True to form, Clapton paid the fine, posed for pictures with the cops, and had his secretary drive him off in the same Porsche. It wasn't his first rodeo either. Back in 1990, he was caught driving at 105 miles per hour and received a 3-month ban in the UK. Number 10. Mercedes-Benz 600 Pullman Landaulet. If you've never heard of this beast, imagine the ultimate limousine. Now stretch it out, load it with luxury, give it the kind of hydraulic tech that sounds like it belongs on a spaceship, and drop a convertible roof on the back, just so royalty can stand and wave. That's the Landaulet. The Pullman version was the long wheelbase variant, featuring up to 6 doors, 8 seats, and a curb weight that tipped the scales at nearly 3 tons. Under the hood, a 6.3-liter V8 engine, Mercedes' first fuel-injected V8 in a passenger car. It made 250 horsepower, which doesn't sound crazy today, but back then, that was muscle, especially when you consider it had to power not just the car, but the insane hydraulic system that ran everything from the windows and seats to the trunk and even the doors. The thing could practically tuck you in and pour your coffee. Despite its bulk, this monster could haul. European versions topped out at 129 miles per hour and hit 60 in under 10 seconds. Inside, the luxury was just ridiculous. Leather or velvet seating, wood trim that would make a yacht blush, and climate control that was ahead of its time. Some models had multi-zone heating and cooling, hydraulic door locks, and even an automatic closing trunk. That comfort hydraulic system made you feel like the car was alive. The Landaulet, that was next-level exclusivity. Only 59 of these were ever made between 1964 and 1981. The rear section had a soft convertible top, so dignitaries, popes, or rock legends could stand and wave during parades, or, just enjoy the breeze down the Pacific Coast Highway. Eric wasn't the only celebrity to fall for the 600 Pullman. Bowie, Elvis, Coco Chanel, and even Pablo Escobar. This was the ride of icons. But Clapton's ownership ties into that elegant mystique. It wasn't just about money, it was about taste, and this Mercedes was dripping with it. So, which one of Clapton's classics hit the right note for you? Tell us your favorite in the comments. We'd love to hear it. If you're craving more rare cars and rockstar garages, make sure you're subscribed to our channel with the bell on. You won't want to miss what's rolling out next.